I felt like being in the house of God this morning after all that God has done to bring us here today. I felt like it was worth sharing with you all that God has done. So yeah, I'm Natalie. My parents, François and Nadia, are members here, and we have the privilege of coming and visiting you usually every summer when we come back. My husband and I are actually 4 of our kids now live in Indonesia. We moved there 7.5 years ago for my husband to lead a group of Christian schools. So our older 2 kids have already graduated and now live in Canada and the US. So it's really good to be here, and I'm here because of my dad's birthday. So it was a plan that we made this summer that when his 90th birthday came around, it really was important for me to be here. And so I'm so thankful God brought me here to celebrate. But I wanted to tell you something that God has done since when we planned for me to come and today. And that's that early this year, my daughter Cecilia, who's 13, she tore her ACL playing basketball. And that meant that she was going to need to have surgery. It's not something that was going to heal on its own. And living overseas, there are probably 2 things that we find difficult. One is being far from family, and the other is navigating the medical system. We have 6 kids, so we visit the hospital often, more than we like. We have had lots of broken bones and stitches, and that's been fine. But for serious things, we often look for advice and help from medical professionals here. So when she tore her ACL, God provided somebody in Canada who looked at the MRI and started to give us advice about how we should go about getting the surgery done, where and when. And so the research began back in September, and we looked at Malaysia, Singapore, somewhere else, the Philippines. Those were our closest good sources. It wasn't going to be wise to do it in Indonesia. And as this unfolded, Cici knew that I was planning to come here for my dad's birthday, and she kept saying, well, I want to go. And I said, yeah, well, you can pray to God, but we're just trying to find the surgery and whatever. And anyway, in God's providence, the doctor who had been guiding us through at one point did mention that he could possibly do the surgery here in Canada. But it's a long recovery. It takes about 9 to 12 months after surgery before she could play sports again. And waiting till this summer didn't sound like a great idea because she's already partway through this school year. That would be 2 whole school years of just watching everybody play sports. So I asked in one of our conversations, would there be any possibility if you could do it in November, because I'm coming back anyway? And he said, yeah, it's possible. So we began praying in earnest, and that was in September. And I don't want to take too long, so I won't tell you all the details, but in God's kindness, he provided everything that we needed. And there were many obstacles. He provided the doctor, he provided a facility, he provided insurance that would cover. He even provided a friend in PEI who paid fully for the surgery in advance because the facility would not book the surgery until we paid. So, and then when my husband had to switch my flights in some amazing kindness of God, we got money back. He said, I don't know how, but we're getting $25 for changing your flight. So all of that, I have seen this unfold, and I thought, okay, first of all, I believe that Cici, when she grows up, is going to be able to speak over and over again about God's kindness through something difficult. And as I've thought about it, it's not just the sovereignty of God, it's not just that he is in control, but it's actually the providence of God, that in his wisdom, he uses hard things for his good, for our good, and for his glory. And so I've seen that in this, and often I would pray from Psalm 84. This is a prayer that I would pray to God. It says, no good thing will he withhold from those who walk uprightly. O Lord of hosts, blessed is the man who trusts in you. And so over and over again I would say, Lord, it's not just one good thing. It wouldn't just be getting a surgery. It would be seeing my dad. It would be in Halifax, where we'll get the surgery. My husband's parents live there. So there's just a series of blessings that God has chosen to give us. And I just felt like it would be wonderful to share that with you. And I just want to read, this is about the providence of God. I've thought a lot about it, realizing that everything in our lives comes from his hand. And it says, the almighty and ever-present power of God, by which God upholds, as with his hand, heaven and earth and all creatures, he upholds and rules them that leap and blade rain and drought, fruitful and lean years, fruit and drink, health, sickness, prosperity and poverty, and even a torn ACL. All things, in fact, come to us not by chance, but by his fatherly hand. So, praise God for this.